Hello, everyone. This is Greg Owen, the CEO of the GOKO Group. Well, have I got a program for you? Yes, I've got standing by Harry Dent, the world's famous economist, who's also very famous for the fact that he talks about bubbles. And he tells you that all bubbles must burst, but the problem is when. And that's why I like to speak to Harry as much as possible, because it's always moving. So I have standing by Harry Dent in San Juan. So welcome, Harry.
Well, thank you, Greg, for that introduction.
Harry, it's always great to talk to Harry Dent. I love it because it's always so colorful. Have we found you in San Juan today?
No, San Juan is a busy city. I'm out in Humacao, emphasis on Humacao, I tell people. And so I'm 40 minutes southeast of San Juan, the big city in Puerto Rico. The weather here is as good as Southern California, a little more humid. But other than that, and the taxes, 4% income tax. Wow. And I had a big capital gains transaction after I moved here. Zero capital gains, 4% income tax. And the people are nice down here. And I'm not going to learn Spanish. I'm too old to learn Spanish. And my wife speaks good broken Spanish because she grew up in Miami.
Harry, great to have you on the program. Harry, let's get the elephant out in the room. And that is, of course, we've been sending out our emails, and we're talking about the truth bomb, this particular asset class that you have said is going to come to a halt. And so let's go straight to the elephant in the room, the big one. What is the truth bomb? What is this asset class, and what's going to happen to it in looking through the eyes of Harry Dent?
Well, first of all, you can't create prosperity by printing money out of thin air. That's the number one truth bomb, or borrowing your way there excessively. So that's the biggest thing. People have no idea. I'm the only one that throws out the real number. 29 trillion in government deficits and money printing injected in the economy to keep this clunker going for the last, several years, especially since COVID. And that's insanity to think that you can get prosperity that way. And the truth is, we should have been, with all that money putting in, that was like almost 8% of our GDP on average, all the way back to the downturn in 2008 and 9. We should have been growing at 8 to 10%, Greg, at a minimum. You know what our growth rate's been? Adjusted for inflation, real growth, 2.1%, the worst in our history. So you put that much money in, you have that low of growth, something's wrong. And of course, what I was predicting all the way back for decades. I said we'd have the greatest boom in history in 2007. It would end, and then we'd have a long slowdown, especially in Europe and America and Canada, the Western countries, where we are over here. And 2008 to 22, that's what all this money they've been printing, it has been to fight this natural slowdown. And then COVID came and they doubled down. They printed like 12 trillion in just a couple of years. It's just, and nobody thinks there's something wrong with this. Nobody even looks or cares. It's just, as long as the economy keeps growing, even at this 2%, and it doesn't look like 2% to people because, with the inflation, it's more like 4 to 5%. Okay. So it sounds like, well, that's not so bad. But the truth is, they have paved over a Great Depression. This should have been more like 1930 to 42. And so I have to stand here and say, sorry, folks. And if we could, I would. I'd love to pave over a Great Depression and not have it crack up fall. But you can't do this. And I think we're finally at the point where they've pushed this so far and blown up this second bubble, way bigger than the first bubble we had from the 1995 to 2000. That was a bubble, Greg, almost exactly like the 1920s bubble. From late 24 to late 29, roaring 20s, low inflation, everybody dancing in the streets. That was the first bubble in the mid to late 90s. Well, that crashed a little bit, but this bubble went from early 2009 into now. That's 16 and a half years. So my view, and it comes not from a righteous point of view, like, you got to pay for your sins sort of stuff. I've studied history. You don't get something for nothing. And in the law, every time you have a bonanza like this, especially if it's artificial, the bigger the bubble, the bigger the burst. It is that simple. Even in a healthy, normal boom like 1950 to 65, that was America's heyday. Not because we're as prosperous as today, but we were number one in the world coming out of World War II. We were kicking. Everybody's happy. They had shows after this called Happy Days set in the 50s and 60s. But that was a natural boom. There was no big stimulus and stuff. There wasn't like crazy borrowing. People borrowed to buy a decent house, maybe 3 to 4 times their income at most. Now people are buying houses at 8 to 10 to 12 times their income, borrowing like crazy. And then the government says, well, when things slow down, we'll just print more money. So I would like to think we could do this. It's like going to heaven, and maybe I'm wrong about this. No, you can't get away with it.
Well, Harry, I'm going to come back because that wasn't the truth bomb, but it was a good start. I liked it. And seeing that we're on printing of money, I want to talk to you about that because I can see it's a sore point for the obvious reasons, because you've been predicting for 10, 12 years there's going to be certain crashes. They haven't happened. Could it be that the government can keep printing the money and outrun the bubble burst? Can it actually do it?
Yeah, it could be if they hadn't already done it for 16 years. Now, I'm just telling you, I know I will bet my life. You can shoot me if I'm wrong. You cannot do this forever. If they would, we've been stupid for all of history. Oh, if we just print artificial money and throw it out at the crowds and let them eat cake, then what have we been doing? Working and investing and taking risk and being entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. It took me a long time to discover I wasn't an economist. I'm an entrepreneur. That's why I'm bringing something whole new to a very stodgy industry, by the way, economists. Okay. So, being an entrepreneur is not a piece of cake. You take big risks and you get big kicks from it. I don't know. I've consulted to more entrepreneurs than corporate CEOs increasingly. And they all have scars and all had their, gotten kicked really, really hard. That's the way you innovate. That's the way you make progress. And the United States and its English offshoots, okay, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, these are the countries that are the most entrepreneurial, and they're the ones that keep doing well. I mean, we're aging like everybody else. Japan was the first to age, and I'm telling you, they're going to keep going down, but Japan's gone nowhere for decades. I was the only one, Greg, in the entire world to predict Japan was the bubble. Japan was going down, and the United States and the Western countries that I'm talking about would be the ones the next have a boom like they had. And people thought I was crazier then than I was now. So like you said in the promo, I'm used to being criticized. I've been right about all the big trends my entire career. In the short term, especially when the government started printing money, just like, well, that's something new. This has never happened, okay? And so that's harder to get hands around. And I frankly did not think they could do this as long. So your question is the best one, the one you just asked. How long can they do this? And I'm just saying, and I haven't been uninvested the whole time. I'll just come in, and when things get frothy, I'll pull back and watch and watch and watch. And again, I'm telling people in my newsletter now, hey, if this doesn't really start to show signs of a first crash, and that's important, Greg, because the first crash of bubbles in history have tended to be 40 to 50%, and that's not so shocking. But in 2.5 months, that's what's shocking. When this thing goes up and up and up, and people get punished for criticizing it, punished for getting out, missing the games, people you got to whack them real hard to let them know it's over. And that's what bubbles have done. That's why I'm telling people You need to get serious about this. Yes, I may be early at times and stuff, and I'm not always saying this, but I am saying it now. Again, there's times I pick and say, hey, this is the time. The markets look bubbly. We're seeing this and all these signs and stuff. If this happens, by the time the first whack happens, that first couple of months crash, you will already have lost half your damn net worth. And this time, unlike 2008, 2007, 2008, 9, the last big downturn, it's going to be real estate more relatively than stocks. Real estate will never go to zero like stocks can, but real estate is leveraged with mortgages, as you know. So real estate's much more painful. A 40% crash in real estate is worse than an 80% crash in stocks. And you're going to see real estate and stocks on this one. So that's another thing to be wary of.
Harry, let's do a hypothetical here. We all know that Donald Trump is the ultimate loose cannon. What about if he decides over the next 2 or 3 years that he's going to go to record heights in printing money? He's going to keep interest rates low.
Is he in charge of the Federal Reserve?
I think he's in charge of everything.
Does the Federal Reserve like him? How much time has he spent criticizing Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve? You think they care about his sorry ass? He's already blown that. He should be kissing Jerome Powell's ass because he is the guy he needs. They do have to keep printing exponentially more. The only way to keep a bubble going like this, especially this late with Leslie, you do have to print. You can't print the same amount. You have to print exponentially more. And of course, that also means at some point you are going to blow out. Okay, just like the Germans did. After World War I, they got in trouble and they just tried to print their way out of it. And next thing you know, they had the first major hyperinflation in history, and that's even worse when that collapses. So yeah, the question is not if. You can't live on deficits and printing money out of thin air. Both of them are the easy way out. Nothing in life never taught me that. If it's taught anybody in this audience that, then I want to sit down and talk to you, or you can fly over and see me and I'll talk to you. But that's not the way life is. So it's more a question of when and what will it take to trigger. And you know what? One of the triggers of the 1929 to 36 crash, guess what it was, Greg? Tariffs. Tariffs are stupid. They're not free market capitalism. They're tinkering with the free market system that works from the bottoms up. You know what the guy who invented that, Adam Smith, called it? The invisible hand. It's beautiful. That's like, it's like God or something. That's God of economics. Free market capitalism is the best thing ever invented and only recent in human history. People don't realize human beings, okay? Homo sapiens, not all the ape-like ones, okay? 300,000 years we've been around. We've gotten richer just since free market capitalism and democracy were invented at the same time. I also tell Greg, you know what that is? That's like Harry met Sally, okay? Free market capitalism is the innovative, risky side. Democracy gives everybody a share, make sure everybody's included, okay? So they don't withhold and get dissatisfied. It was the perfect marriage in all of economics. And we have seen just in the last 125 years, 8 times our standard of living. And if you go all the way back to then, it's probably 20, 30, 40. I mean, nothing in history has ever happened in economics like this. And now governments around the world, and the US is the worst, and Trump is the most clueless about this, are just basically saying, well, yeah, we've had the greatest boom in history, but we don't want a recession on the other side.
Look, if they keep printing money, and as you know, the money gets fed into the share market and crypto market, and the rich get richer. And so the rich people aren't all that upset when they start printing money because they've made so much money. It's a record amount. In fact, if they print all this money, you could have another 2, 3, or 4 years where the share market's going up, stocks are going up, super funds are going up. Everybody.
Greg, I'm going to stop you. You can make that argument forever. No question, and already proven that. How long can you do this? And I'm calling it now. This is it. And they've done this so long. They are actually, this is the first time, Greg, that they pulled back the balance sheet. All the accumulated money printing got up to 9 trillion. It's dropped to 6.6 now. They dropped it a third. Now, they'd have to drop it 90% to get back where it started and pull it off. But to drop that a third, that's going to take a year and a half for us to feel that. I think that enough alone is going to trigger us. They have not pulled back on the deficits in the major countries, especially the United States is leading it. But just pulling back that balance sheet, I think, because again, what I've learned about any accelerated growth process, especially something artificial, any drug you take is artificial, okay? You can get happy on your own. You can eat the right foods, whatever. You can get happy, but if you want to get really happy, or they call it hot, you take an artificial drug. Well, anybody knows you can do that easy, but 6-7 hours later, you come down. Coming down is never fun, and then the next morning, they call it a hangover. You do pay for that, okay? So that's all I'm saying. This is just common sense. You can't, we didn't need all this stimulus to have the greatest boom in history. I predicted it. I was the only guy. Most people thought in the early to mid 80s, when I started speaking to CEOs of small businesses, that's the only places that would listen to me, Check and Vistage and YPO and places like that. You know, people thought the U.S. had already peaked back then. There was the 50s and 60s, we became king. The 70s got inflation, started to get tarnished some, and the rose came off the economy, and we had bigger recessions and, all this stuff. People thought the U.S. was done. I used to give speeches and people say, Harry, the Japanese and East Asia and China, and we're done. No, I said, no, the U.S., at least into 2007, because I already had that spending wave forecasting thing, is going to come back harder than ever. And it's in the same period, in the late 80s, I said, it's Japan that's going to go down and bust. And did they bust? Japan has never been the same since then. Why? They peaked in their demographics in 1996, and they went down, and they only came halfway back, and now they're heading down again. Japan will never be a great country economically again. And it took them massive stimulus just to do as well as they did do, but they still went down in the end, and they're going to continue to go down because a bunch of old people who don't have kids and don't allow immigration, which is what Japan does specifically more than anybody, is going to die. That's death. That's like being a human and never having sex. Well, you're not going to have any children. You're not going to get a woman, number one, or a spouse, and you're not going to have any children, and your family line is going to die.
Look, Japan is one thing, but of course, America is God when it comes to the economy. Relating the two sometimes, I don't know, because
we have high immigration, and who has higher immigration as a percentage of their economy in the U.S.? By far, Australia.
Absolutely, and our economy is fantastic.
You don't just have higher percentage immigration of your population, you have higher quality immigrants. We get people from Latin America. You get them from East and Southeast Asia. Even stronger work ethic, higher education on average. The people, when I walk around the streets in Sydney and Australia, I'm looking at the immigrants, and they look just smarter than me. When I look at it in the U.S., it doesn't look that way.
Yes, we've got the cream, and that's where our economy is so strong. It's amazing.
You're the best developed country in the world from my point of view. And again, I can project your stuff out, anybody out 40, 50 years. If I showed people your spending wave in Australia and your chart and my projections for it, people would say, what's that, Indonesia? They would think it's an emerging country. I would think that too if I saw the chart and didn't know what it was. It's because and I don't know if it happened more by accident or on purpose, but you are on the edge of the next great boom in the world. And it is, East Asia had their boom. That's China, Japan, Korea, etc. Those countries had their great boom. They'll still boom some more, but they'll never grow like they did in the past. Japan's already proven that. Japan's never grown again after the early 90s and stuff when I predicted they would peak, okay? And Australia is one of the Scandinavia, Australia, New Zealand, 5 countries, and Israel, because they must have a lot of kids or something. Those are the 6 small countries that have natural growth without stimulus for decades and decades to come. I mean, I think Australia could boom into at least 2070 and maybe 2100.
I guess what everybody would be watching this program would be saying, look, when will the music stop? And you want to make sure you've got a seat. And the reality is, and I was speaking to somebody just yesterday, somebody, I won't use his name, but he doesn't agree with you. He believes that the printing of money will go on. He believes there's another 3 or 4 years in the share market booming. He doesn't see any crash in the crypto space for another 4 or 5 years. It will crash, he said, but not for a while. And it's just going to keep going on. Now, of course, is everybody going to sell?
Let me ask you that. Go to that person and say, can that person tell you that crypto doesn't crash every 4 years like a clock? 2013 to 14.
No, he
77%, Greg. 2017 to 18. 77%. 2021 to 22. Guess. I'm going to guess. How much did it crash, Greg? 77%. Anybody says crypto's going to crash one day, but not yet, it's already crashed because it's a new dynamic. That's what early stage, that's what I didn't understand crypto at first, but when I saw how it was acting, I said, oh my God, that's got to be the next big thing. That's what the next big thing looks like in its early stages. Screaming boom, screaming crash, many entrants, many new companies. And then before it's all over, 90% of those companies die and the winners come out like General Motors, Ford, and all these big companies, and they end up taking the big growth boom that follows that innovation phase. So to me, that's how things work. You can't do this forever, period. If you can, I will never say a word again. I'm giving it 1 or 2 more years. If we don't see some sort of crash in the next couple of years by now, then I will quit. I'll just say, look, I may have gotten a lot of things right, but I'm obviously got something wrong. Because yes, you can just print money effortlessly forever and grow forever. If that's the case, then God's a push. Okay.
I can see everybody grabbing a pen, writing this down, Harry. Harry said it on this day.
Well, I will quit if we don't see some sort of substantial pullback in the next couple of years. I will say, look, I'm 72, so I should have quit 7 years ago by most people who retired at 65. Okay, I will quit. Because I don't need my newsletter.
No, Harry, you won't quit. We need another. We need another decade. We need another 10 years out of you, Harry. Tell me, AI. You open the newspaper. Every billionaire is making more money on AI. They're saying that if you don't understand AI, you're left behind. Jobs are going to be taken. The world's going to change. But you and I both know that down through the years, you've seen new things happen, and people. The world regenerates. It makes itself. It creates another way to make money. It creates another way to be entrepreneurial. But what do you say about this whole AI thing? People losing jobs. You got to spend 15 minutes a day on AI and come up to speed. What are your thoughts?
Here's what I say, Greg. All of history, and I've studied. No economist has studied far back in depth. I studied all the way back to 600 BC. Entire Western civilization, and went back farther than that and everything. But anything you get, that's when you can really document. Losing jobs, eliminating jobs is exactly how you grow. You take, would we wish we'd never lost our freaking farm jobs? Sweat, toil in the sun all day, 12 hours, come home, eat a little bit of grub if you're lucky, and then fall asleep and get back and do the same thing. A Little House on the Prairie sucked. That was a TV show, not reality, okay? Farms, and then industry came. Oh my God! Well, then factory. Oh, well, then now factories. They're smoky. They're sweaty. They're hot. They're noisy. But factories made people a whole new standard of living. And then the whole clerical work. People doing information work at the clerical level. But that's been automated. I mean, computers can do that easy. But I said this back in my Roaring 2000s book. This was all the way back in early '98 that book came out. The whole center of it was the new bottoms-up network corporation, where the next thing to get automated is, guess what? Managerial and professional jobs. All the people that have been automating everybody else throughout history. I said that way back then. That's what this is going to do. And you know what that does, Greg? And look, I started out as one of those managerial professional people with a Harvard MBA and an accounting and finance, undergrad and stuff. Okay. I realized that I was boring. I was built. I had to realize I was an entrepreneur, And I only did it when I started consulting the small ventures, and I found, oh, the sexiest of these people, these are my people, okay? These are the people who really create innovation. If all these smart, highly educated, professional people get automated, then they have to become much more entrepreneurial and create whole new ways of doing things and new businesses and new approaches instead of just managing the existing. So this is a good thing. And people always say this, oh, we're going to lose all through history. The new technologies always take the old jobs, automate them, and create, and they have never, unless this is the first time in hundreds and thousands of years where new technologies eliminated the old jobs and didn't create better ones, then people are right. Never, ever happened. I don't lose 1 minute of sleep over thinking, oh my God, we're going to lose all our high-paying jobs. Not a chance. No. History, you cannot find that anywhere in history. It's always better.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's painful at first. Anything good is, if it doesn't take effort and sacrifice, and people don't learn unless they get challenged. That's why there are so few good entrepreneurs in that sector, because you have to tolerate what I said earlier, high failure rates. That's the thing people hate. They don't want to fail. The first question I ask business people, especially entrepreneurs, just to test them and see if they're an entrepreneur, I ask them, what did you learn the most from? Your successes or your failures? I have never had anybody answer that. First of all, they're shocked. And then I never had anybody say, yeah, the failures. Nobody's ever said their successes. Successes make you an arrogant asshole.
Harry, some quick answers. And of course, this comes back to the truth bomb. And of course, the number one, over the next 2 or 3 years, what is your call? And of course, the truth bomb is gold. What's your take on gold? Next 2 or 3 years?
Okay, next 2 to 3 years, gold will hold up a little longer than stocks and then fall on a lag to stocks. The difference is they'll go down about 60 to 70% as much as stocks. I'm saying stock. I'm saying that, Greg, they've held this back. You can't be the greatest bubble in history. And when one of them, the roaring 20s bubble, went down 89%, stocks are going to go down 80, 90, 95%. I see gold going back to about 1,100, its last major support area. It's been straight up since then. And anybody that studies charts in the markets, the last wave will be this blow off wave, and all it does is it doesn't take out the whole boom before it just takes out that blow off wave and goes back to where that started. For gold, that's 1,100. For the S&P 500, it's 667. That's 90% down. For the NASDAQ, it's not 90% for the S&P 500, 95. People say, well, how could that happen? That just shows you how big a bubble this has been. That's just going back several years, 12 years in stocks, and I think a little more, 15, not quite as far in gold, to the last major low. Any market goes back to the last major low. That's the standard, charting. Any chartist, if I put all the charts I'm talking about in front of an expert in charts, in market charts, and didn't tell them what it was, they'd say, oh, yeah, this looks like a fifth wave. Oh, yes, it'll go down to this fourth wave low back here. Well, that's 90, 95%, because bubbles don't go up like normal boom. The normal boom in the big 70s crash, okay, it was 50%, right? It wasn't 80, 90. It was 80, 90 after the bubble boom in the early 1900s that crescendoed in the roaring 20s. Bubble booms are followed by depressions. Normal booms are followed by deep recessions. Depressions go all the way to deflation. Deflation kills everything. Ultimate survival of the fittest. And by the way, if you've studied science and evolution, what's the number one principle of evolution without a question? Survival of the fittest. Throw everything you can at them, and then the strongest will survive and become stronger and have kids that are stronger, and everything gets stronger, okay? That's just life. It's not Disneyland, okay? Well, that's the way business is.
Now, Harry, I'll try and keep these answers a bit quicker because we'll run out of time. But I've got to say, I think Jim Rickards and Peter Schiff are probably choking on their dinner right now listening to you, because they don't believe at all that gold's going to 1,100. They see it going to 25,000. So you and them are so far apart. It's crazy. I mean, massively. That's why we call it the truth bomb, because.
And I'd ask them, show me a time in history. Did in the Great Depression, did gold go soaring 5, 10, 20 times? You know what did the best in the Great Depression? That's why I'm treasury bond. And people say, yeah, but the U.S. is too much in debt. Yeah, we are. But I say, my answer to that is, we're the best house in a bad neighborhood. We're the biggest, baddest, and most innovative still. Europe is asleep compared to us. The Japanese went down a long time and never did anything radical. I used to say, people say, oh, the Japanese doing, no, they're doing incremental innovation, making our stuff better. They didn't do anything radical. It's the radical innovation that creates the greatest wealth and stuff. So again, people can say what they want. I don't care. I've been criticized. I've been criticized good, things I learned from, and I get this endless criticism because they don't even know why I'm saying my thing, because they didn't study history and they didn't run 6 businesses.
Harry, now, a couple of quick answers now, because we've run out of time. Next 2 or 3 years, the share market.
I think, I don't know that it started till I see that first crash. So the first crash, we need to see a first crash, like let's take the NASDAQ, the raciest, more tech-oriented. I need to see the NASDAQ go down 40 to 50% in a short period of time, like between now and Christmas. And I think that's a real possibility here, actually a strong possibility. When I see that, then I say, okay, it looks like it started. Then you get a bounce. Instead of that bounce going back 50 to 60% way back, it only goes back 30, 40, a limp bounce, let's call it, okay? That's the second side. Oh, yeah, and we're not going to, I mean, we've had crashes like that before and come right back to new highs pretty quickly. So that's what it looks like. First crash, sudden comes out of nowhere, and then the bounce just can't get that far. And then the next wave, then everybody knows it's over by the time that next wave. And it'll take 3 crashes, 3 waterfalls. Any major up move or down move has 5 waves, 3 up and 2 down. So 1 crash, sharpest, 2-wave bounce, 3 crash, big, 4-wave bounce, and then it ends on the 5th wave down.
And you're saying the next
whole process should take about 2.5 to 3 years.
Next 2 or 3 years. Okay, good to know. Property, quick answer.
Property does not go down as fast as stocks and will go down about half as much. I expect now, what I look at, what's that? Remember I say you have that last wave up and then you go back to where it bottomed just before that. The real estate market, that was the 4th wave bottom in early to mid 2012 and has been up ever since. And again, I can't even compare this run in real estate to anyone in history. We would have to go back to the 2012 lows. That is 64% in U.S. real estate. And the last crash, Greg, was 34%. And people before that said real estate can never go down much because they ain't making any more of it, and blah, 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 blah. And interest rates are reasonable. It went down 34%. People didn't believe. This would be almost double that. So that is going to be the biggest shock. Most people don't own that much stocks. And that's when the richer people own a lot more, okay? Most people, it's their house is their biggest asset. And that went down 64% and they're just in retirement. And that was the thing they were going to sell and downsize before their retirement. People are going to be really angry. And I'll tell you, going to be there. Guess who I think is going to be the angriest population of a country in the entire world several years from now? Just guess. It ain't Australia. It's not the United States. Chinese.
India? Of the Chinese.
The Chinese real estate bubble is not as big as the U.S., but their incomes are not even a fifth, okay, of ours, okay? The Chinese real estate bubble compared to their income is the greatest in the world. I'm going to give you one guess who's second.
India.
Australia.
Come on.
Australia does not have the demographic downturn like most of the Western world, Europe, the United States, and Canada, and all that does. But their real estate bubble is the worst, second only to China compared to incomes and measures and all this sort of stuff. So that's going to be the biggest thing. If I was in Australia and I had 2 houses, I would sell the most expensive one with the most equity, and I'd keep the least expensive one with the most mortgage against it. Because if things get really bad, the banks are going to have to write down mortgages, or the governments may even have to mandate this and then support the banks in doing it. So, and people come to me and say, well, Harry, I hear my friends say, hey, I should get rid of my mortgage or pay down my mortgage. No, don't pay down anything. You need cash. And the cash needs to go in high quality bonds, like the 30-year Treasury bond in the United States, or an Australian government bond, a 20-year government bond. That'd be the second best to me, because Australia is going to weather this better than most countries. But the real estate is going to be the most painful, because your real estate bubble is your problem, not your demographic. You're not peaking in demographics like the United States, Canada, and most of Europe is, okay? And almost all developed. You're one of the few not peaking, but you do have the worst real estate bubble in the Western world.
We certainly do, Harry, but supply and demand is...
You're proud of it.
Yes.
People are proud of it.
We're
be scared to death of that damn house, you said.
Well, maybe so, but supply and demand here is still out of control, Harry. Supply and demand.
Who's moving there? You're having Asians move in who are smarter and richer than most people in Australia. No country has that. That's why you guys have the golden situation with your immigration.
Sure. And the last one, let's because Donald Trump won't want to hear your answer on this one. Bitcoin cryptocurrency, of course, his family, they're pumping so much energy and time into their World Financial Bank, or whatever it is, Liberty Bank, and it's all in the crypto space. What is your thoughts on the crypto market over the next 2 or 3 years?
Well, what was one of the great innovations? Electricity, automobiles, telephones, all those. I remember I said there's 100 auto companies. How many of them died, Greg? 90. But the ones that survived did better than ever, okay? So that's what's going to happen here. I mean, AI and cryptocurrencies are the two big innovations I can see. They're acting like automobiles and electricity and computers and software did in the last two major generational rounds and stuff, okay? Those are the next big things. Well, people don't get, and they're flying high, fast. I mean, nothing can compete with Bitcoin. I did that the other day. I went through every major stock and every major stock indices and everything and other assets and stuff. Nothing even came close to Bitcoin and crypto, okay? They have an early stage bubble. They're the big bubble, and they have the biggest crashes. And then that means only the strong survive. You know how many coins there are out there? I've heard 9,000 minimum and up to 40,000. All of those are going to be worthless. There's going to be not that many. And I love this crypto thing because a lot of companies got to raise money easy. These coins are basically just the cheapest IPOs on earth. You got a new business, you want to get money to grow, you say, I got a coin, and I'm going to price it at this, and then everybody can buy my coins, and coins are hot. Oh, Bitcoin's overvalued now. Get the new, doggy coin or whatever it is, cat coin, or whatever you want to call it. Tons of companies have raised money cheaply. This is actually a big innovation in disguise. That IPOs don't have to, they need some more regulation, but they don't have to be. IPOs are too costly now. So this is an innovation, but this crypto thing is the next big thing. I see by 1937 to 40 in that time range, 37 is the best of the next millennial wave before it kind of plateaus and stuff. By 37 to 40, Bitcoin's going to be 600,000 minimum and probably closer to 1 million. And it's going to stabilize. It's not going to be like it's down 77% every 4 years, okay? The bigger it gets, the more broader it gets owned. I mean, institutions are giant. It'll become more stable like any major innovation or growth company over time. So Bitcoin will end up being, and it's going to replace gold. Gold is dead from that point of view. You're going to have to use gold for jewelry and real uses, okay? Gold will never be the money backing standard again, which it was very good for hundreds of years and even thousands, okay? It is crypto. It is, and Bitcoin is the only standard, neutral standard can be that. Ethereum is number 2, and they're the best technology for launching more coins in crypto companies. That means they could launch anything. Wouldn't have to be crypto companies. They got that model down. So I see Bitcoin as the next big thing. I see, and that started earlier. And now AI is coming later. That's the other big thing. And AI is what was, again, the whole middle of my Roaring 2000 book. Automation of professional and managerial work. That's the top 10 to 20% of workers that are the most educated, have the most power and intelligence, and they're the ones that never get automated. If we can automate that and then force those people to do something more productive, and again, I know what's the most productive. A good entrepreneur creates more value because they literally are the closest to magic, although it's not magic, it's hard work, but it looks like magic, where you create something tangible that grows a long time and comes a giant from nothing. So everything's going to move toward. I mean, I have a saying in almost all my books. Every team or business, every small team or individual in a corporation is a business. Okay. They are an entrepreneur, okay? And they all have to have a P&L for ultimate, not just, oh, you got to meet certain goals and do this and that and conquer this or that. You also have to show you can do it and be profitable and grow your profits. In information technology can easily distribute all the fixed costs in a company and allocate the variable costs, which is easy, and make everybody a business. So everybody's a business, everybody's an entrepreneur in the future. And you know what entrepreneurs or the innovative people in company don't like? Management. Management's always second guessing, over managing, over questioning, blocking everything. If you're going to have the freedom to innovate, you do have to have accountability. And these built-in software P&Ls and stuff is the way to make every small team or individual a business and have the freedom to innovate, but also have the freedom to fail and go out of business just like out there in the real world and be totally accountable. That's the most important thing in business.
We've got to stop there. We've got another speaker, a fantastic speaker coming on. It's always great to talk to you, Harry. So energetic. I love it. Harry, thanks, mate. We'll see you next time and put in another 10 years, okay?
Yeah, that's as long as I'm doing.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, Greg.
Well, oh my God, Harry, oh man, when he gets going, you can't stop him. I tried to get a few questions in, but it wasn't easy. Extraordinary man, but we always love having Harry on the programs. Don't move, don't touch that dial, do nothing. I have Greg Morgan from Smart Wealth Academy. Greg Morgan is the Forex Trader of the Year. He's a well sought after speaker. Everybody wants Greg Morgan on their program. Plus, he's going to share with you this AI system in Forex trading that's blowing people's minds. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sit back and relax because you're going to hear an outstanding speaker, high energy speaker in Greg Morgan from Smart Wealth Academy. Greg, over to you.
Thank you very much, Gregory, and I appreciate that kind introduction. Well, hello, everyone. Hopefully you can see me and hear me clearly. My name is Greg Morgan, and I am super, super excited that you've decided to join me and stay on for this training, because what I'm going to show you over the next 90 minutes is how you can monetize the markets, the trading markets, without spending years learning or hours at your PC, even if you've never traded before. And I'll tell you this, what I'm going to show you on this web class has taken years, literally years, for Smart Wealth Academy to figure it out with Smart Charts, the trading platform, and AI trading. This is a game changer, everyone. So get ready to begin a new side hustle, a new laptop business, because I'm going to show you how to get into this game of trading without risking your own money. And get gobsmacked that people do that. Put their own money in there and they don't know what they're doing, they'd lose it. You don't have to do that. I'm also going to show you how our students can make $1,000 a week comfortably, reliably, after they sit our program. Beginner students. So stick with me, ladies and gentlemen, because what is the number one way to set yourself up for a big and successful 2025? Well, I would say to have a new income stream set up ASAP. Who agrees with me on that? Because income and cash flow has never been more important than it is right now. With the world economy, as you just heard from Harry, and the markets, they're in turmoil. Income and livelihoods are in crisis mode because of the high cost of living. Now is the right time and opportunity to discover how to generate a new income stream. And you know what? I'm going to show you exactly that. I'm going to teach you 2 trading strategies. One's called a T-wave, and one's called the breakfast breakout. When you see these in action, they're going to blow your mind because the simplicity of these 2 trading strategies is extraordinary. And it's just, we want to show this to a lot of people to start making some money. Now, find a chat box somewhere around me, guys, because some of you already found it, which is great. I have a team of trader mentors on from Smart Wealth Academy to answer all your questions. I'll be looking at some of the questions coming in as well, and I'll be answering some of them. So get yourself ready, get yourself inspired, because I'm going to help you set up a new laptop business of trading the currency markets. Now, you're going to be able to implement the steps, the precise steps of those 2 trading strategies, so you can use to start wildly monetizing that free time you have. You know what I'm talking about? The free time you might spend scrolling through social media for hours on end, or binge watching Netflix for hours on end. Now, we're all guilty of it, that's for sure. I am. But my point is, why don't you use that time instead to perhaps fund a new lifestyle? Why don't you use that time instead to perhaps make some money trading the markets? Now, who agrees with me on that? Just type in Netflix if you agree with me, please. Because what we're going to cover on this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, right now is a step-by-step guide to 2 of my favorite trading strategies on the planet, the breakfast breakout and the T-wave. I'm also going to show you real-life examples of our students' trades, particularly after they sit our 3-day Learn Forex program and learn smart charts. They start moving forward very, very quickly. Now, throughout this workshop, I will continually show you proven real trading results, the winners and the losers. I'm going to show you these trading systems in action, live in action. And towards the end, guys, I'm going to show you AI trading. This is the game changer. If you're not trading with AI, you're leaving money on the table. And for a few of you on here, I don't know how I'm going to do this, I'm going to pick 15 of you on this broadcast, it's less than 10% on this broadcast, to come in and get trained by our top traders complimentary. And that's just a gift for being with me on here today. So who's up for a blueprint to get this up and running for you? I'm going to show, just type in blueprint, please, if you want to get that, because it's worth over $20,000. You can have it complimentary. I'll explain it all a bit later on. Now, what's really important, if you want to come into this game of trading, you start correctly with a proper structure and a plan. Get the foundations right, the building blocks, then scale from there. All right, step by step, you grow it. Now, let me take note of this, and I want you to take note of this. One of the major challenges for anyone coming into this game of trading is the learning curve and the time required to get yourself set up and profitable. And what you see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, 80% of beginner traders don't make it for 3 reasons. Write these down, please. Number 1, they don't have a highly tuned trading system like smart charts that does all the work for you, which you're going to see in action. And they don't have a trading strategy. The second thing, a trading strategy that doesn't work for them, doesn't work for their personality, their lifestyle, the time frames they want to trade on, the type of day they want, time of day they want to trade on. And the third, most important thing, is they're not connected to a peer group of traders. If you want to get into this game of trading, you've got to get some help. It is simple as that. So we don't want that to be an issue for you, blowing up your trading accounts. So you see, I get gobsmacked, excuse me, at the amount of people come into this game of trading. They download some free charting software from the internet. They stick their hard-earned cash in there, and they're hitting buy and sell, hoping to make some money. And then they blow up their trading account. They turn around to their family and friends, and they say, "Oh, don't get into trading. It's a scam. You'll lose all your money." And I get peed off when I hear that, because trading is 100% plan driven. You've got to have those 3 things that I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, and then you start small. Do not start with your own money, because you will lose it. Set up some demo accounts somewhere on smart charts. I'll show you that in a minute. And then when you get consistency on one trading strategy, when you get a few winning trades, you know you're onto something. And then you can add real money into your account and start making money. Does that make sense, everyone? Right. Now, another very, very important element to trading is the why. It's really important. I mean, why do you want to trade in the first place? Now, I'll give you some examples of why people learn how to trade from us at Smart Wealth Academy. Access smart charts in our 3-day Learn Forex program, which I'm going to give away complimentary 3-day Learn Forex program. Some want to get out of the 9-to-5 grind. Some want more money for the retirement. Some want to get on the road to financial freedom. Some want to help a charity. Some want to help their parents in retirement. Some want money to buy a new car. Some want money, but they want to pay off their debt, their credit card loan or their personal loan or their car loan. Instead of having that for 10, 12, 13 years, they want to pay it down in a couple, 12 months or 24 months trading the markets. Now, can you type into the question box your why? If you wanted to come into this game of trading, why do you want to trade? It's really important. Bring that forward, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to look at that. So, and while you're typing those in, thank you very much. Some want to get on the road to financial freedom. Some want to leave 9-to-5 grind. Some do want more money for retirement. I see that. Okay, so the next thing you do, retire. Good on you, John. Absolutely. We all want more money to retire, right, Joseph? They're all coming in now. Brilliant. Bring them in thick and fast. Cash flow, extra cash flow. Okay, so once you get your retirement, again, when you get your why down, I know this is so important if you want to start trading, particularly if you want to make money trading. When you get your why down, here's a tip. Write it down on a piece of paper, stick it on the wall. Becomes tangible. When it becomes tangible, and that is our superhuman power, our focus. The more you focus on that one thing, the more attention you give it, the more likelihood it has to come to life. So you get your why down, financially free. Right, good one from Rich Lee. Then the second part of it is how much money do you need to make trading the markets per month to achieve your why? So what do you need? An extra 2K, 4K, 6K, 8K, 10K, 12, 15K? What is it to get out of the 9-to-5 grind? How much money per month do you need to be on the road to financial freedom? How much money, extra money you need per month for retirement to live the life you want? Type them in, guys. 10K. Okay, John, 10K. Someone saying 4K, 6K, 8K. Joseph, 6. Bring that forward. I'm going to show you how to achieve this, ladies and gentlemen. Stick with me. Making money takes focus. 4K. Can't live on the age pension? Of course you can't. My mum and dad did, and they couldn't do it. And I was trading, so I was able to help them, which was fantastic. Now, trading is all about achieving your why. Imagine 5K. What you're putting in here, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very, very achievable trading the way we do on smart charts. And I'm going to prove that to you. We have one student who went through the program. We went from $1,000 a month to $8,000 a month. And I'm going to prove that to you in the next 60 minutes. So this is what it's all about. Imagine achieving your why. It's not only successful, it is life-changing. That's what it's about. It is really life-changing. And that's what trading is, to get to that point of living the life you want to live. But you must start small. You start small, then you scale. You've got to get some help if you want to do this. Now, you think about this. If you're going to train an athlete to run a marathon, you're going to need a good pair of trainers for him to run that marathon. The tools, right, to run it. You're going to teach your kids how to drive a car. You're going to need a car, the tools to drive in. The same with trading. If you want to make trading, you need the right tools, the right toolkit, the right trading strategies, and the coaching to be a consistent, profitable trader. Correct? Simple as that. Look at this. $4.5 grand in 2 hours, $6.5 grand in half a day. Some of our students who were smart enough to enroll in that 3-day Learn Forex program, which I'm giving out complimentary to a small handful of you, got to this point. I'm going to show you how our students took these trades and I will show you exactly how you can eventually do this yourself using and trading the way we do on smart charts. Now, there's another three. Losing trade, $1,000. Couple of winning trades. The point is, there's no such thing as 100% winning trades in trading. If you hear that outside from any other broker or educator or trader, walk away. That's BS. We all get losing trades. It's part of the game. The whole idea is to protect your capital account in your trading account. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, we get losing. I might get 12, 13, 14 winning trades in a row before I get a losing trade. I know some students can get up to 30, 31 winning trades in a row without a losing one. I can't do that myself. It just goes to show you that everyone is different. And the money they're making right now is extraordinary. There's so much volatility in the markets right now. Historical opportunities are available to traders who want them. Traders have an unfair advantage of making money. And I'm going to show you what that unfair advantage is. And the students who took these trades as well were taught in our 3-day Learn Forex program how to navigate smart charts and trade on smart charts. Nailed 2 trading strategies embedded in the smart charts, and away they went. And you know what? You can do it. Anyone can do this with the right education. Another reason why traders fail, before I get on to teaching you my trading strategies, they don't know how to find a trade. They simply get in, guess, and hope for the best. Like I said, coming in, following some TikTok trader or Instagram trader or Facebook trader, hit and buy and sell, hoping to make some money. Doesn't work that way. And then they don't know how to manage that trade to profit. 2 critical, extremely critical components of successful trading, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? Smart Charts does this for you. When you see it, it will blow you away. I promise you that. Now, look, my aim is really to help you achieve the results I've shown you. I'm going to show you some more. I can't teach you how to trade in 90 minutes. No one can. It's impossible. But what I can demonstrate is what it takes to be a successful trader and trade with success. I also can want to show you how trading can transform you, your family, like it has for mine. And this webinar is all about helping you determine whether or not you want to start trading. If you do, fantastic. I've got an opportunity for a small handful of you to start correctly at the proper foundation. Then you scale from there. Now, I want an answer to this question, ladies and gentlemen. If I was to say to you, if I could demonstrate to you and show you the top trading strategies that our students are using day in and day out to reap incredible financial rewards on a daily basis. If I could show you that,
Thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate you hosting these spaces. If everyone listening, there's over 2,000 of us, please retweet this space, quote tweet it. These spaces are not always visible. There's a reason why they have been fabricating this narrative, which has been completely now debunked thanks to the incredible research of folks like Ryan, Ian, and everyone here who's Candace and everyone here who's been involved. So thank you, first and foremost, brother. Really appreciate you. This is not an easy task, and it is absolutely necessary because, as you mentioned on Stu Peters' show, and kudos to him as well. You know, this is they're literally getting away with murder. If they can do this for Charlie, they can do this with any of us, and we just can't let this pass. All right. So, you know, I don't know whatever God you believe in, but folks, everyone here, please pray that we get to the truth and to the bottom of who actually did this. We expose them in the light. Okay. Cockroaches have to run away when that happens. We don't know if we'll get justice, but pray for justice, folks, because we absolutely need it. Because this poor kid, Tyler Robinson, clearly a patsy at this point, right? What I really appreciated on the Stu Peters show, Ryan, was how you guys broke down what we witnessed with what happened at the chest level with him. I think this wasn't necessarily just a shooting. There could have been a device involved. I don't exactly know what kind of a device, but it could have been a mic. It could have been something else. We know for certain that his chest, okay, like just balloons up and then comes down. And you see the guy in the brown shirt, whatever, tapping something on his arm. Prior to that, there's all these weird military signals that are going on between, you know, all the people that are around him. And next thing you know, his chest balloons up, and then you see the wound on his neck. Subsequently, you also don't see any sense of a shock or, you know, or care for Charlie. You just see these men with sunglasses on all rush to him, and then they're passing something around, and it looks very clearly that they're getting rid of something immediately from that device, like from that place. Could it have been the device that was used to explode on his chest? I don't know. Like it seemed to me that something was clearly immediately removed as soon as the event takes place. And yes, everything we've seen afterwards, the full, like Ian, Carol, God bless you, bro. Like, you know, you going down there, also confirming the level of you know, like them remodeling the place and essentially covering their tracks up. Combined with, you know, all the weird stuff that we're seeing, like, you know, certain profiles being deleted from the university, a new coroner, like I just got that information. I put that in the purple pill. And a new surgeon was there. What are the odds? You know, a completely brand new surgeon, brand new coroner for studying Charlie's body. This is an American hero, folks. They took a future president from us. Okay, like this kid, he had a, whatever you want to say about him, he had a good heart. Right? He had a good heart. He meant well for people. He wasn't a white supremacist. He wasn't any of this, you know, crap that they're throwing at him these days. And clearly, he wasn't just completely a pro-Israel lapdog. He might have been in the past, but recently, absolutely not. You know, this freaking love letter that all of a sudden Netanyahu is throwing up. Excuse you, like that was not the Charlie that was speaking on Megyn Kelly, or you know, like just speaking out even on his own show, which you guys have done a thorough job exposing. So, you know, it's clear to me at this point, like who the real culprits are. I think it's clear to most of us. But right now we need to prove it, and we need to get the word out. And so this is where you folks in the audience, this is where you guys are so critical. Okay, we need you guys to spread the truth with us. It can't be just us, these amazing men and women speaking out, like we need you guys to absolutely keep demanding, tag the FBI on quote posts with videos. Who the hell are these men rushing to his body as soon as he gets killed? Why is it that the media is completely ignoring the fact that Ryan, Meta, and Ian or Candace Owens and everybody else is exposing these critical anomalies that make no sense with the official narrative? So anyway, those are just thoughts that I wanted to say. Thank you so much, Brother Ryan, and everyone else here for having me up. It's always an honor and a pleasure. And yeah, just wanted to share some thoughts. And yeah, I can shut up now. Thank you so much.
You're good. Thanks, Prometheus. Just a couple things I wanted to comment on, and maybe highlight out of what you said. What it did seem like the minute after he was shot is the people that rushed to his aid did not look like they were fearing any other shot. Like the idea that another shot was coming, like that they needed to take cover, or that they were a little paranoid, which, most people would be in situations like that because we've had mass shootings where multiple people get shot. It seemed to me that they had this level of confidence that was undue to go and rush to his aid without, this is just kind of not to say that they shouldn't have rushed to his aid, but they just didn't even look around. They didn't care. It was almost like moving in action. So I wanted to highlight that. One other thing that you had mentioned, oh, damn it, I hate when that happens. I should have wrote it down. I'm in the middle of cooking. I would have wrote it down, but it was whatever. It'll come back to me, I guess. Damn, I hate when that happens. Okay. So any, you want to comment on that or anybody before?
I think you're going to reset the space, Maze.
I will reset the space. Let's go ahead and do that now. So,
I can comment on it, but yeah, reset the space first.
Well, no, you comment, I'll reset, and then we'll go to the next one. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, when you just see a shot, someone just being killed, you're shocked. Obviously, you're shocked. Obviously, you would have, some sort of a medical team style response. Considering this is Charlie Kirk people.
Yeah,
okay?
they were supposed to actually have ambulance on standby. What are you doing? I'm cooking.
Exactly, Maze. Why was none of those protocols observed? Instead, we see,
Right.
him desperately raising his hand.
I remember now. Okay, sorry. Which is not related to what you're saying. But another thing I would like to know is, and this is maybe something that we could handle via like social media, but the people that were there that had their phones on record, what happened in the moment that they were recording? Like, was there something that kind of cut the recording right before? I'm very curious to know about all of the cameras that were up, that were recording, that did not surface any videos. And I don't know how we can get that information, but I would be really curious to know if they all kind of have the same kind of story around where it is, Sorry, I just wanted to bring that up. But all right, let me just take this moment and reset the space. I wanted to welcome all of you here. Geez, we got a lot of people in here. 20, going on 3,000 people. Guys, if you would, please do me a favor and hit that little purple pill. Make sure you're resharing the space. We have an epic panel here. People who have been spending a lot of time and energy and effort to really get to the bottom of all the questions that have been left unanswered. And we're also going over some of the pieces of Candace Owens' latest clips. And yeah, and we're just talking about it. There's a lot of people here. So we will move swiftly through the hands. If you guys can be time conscious as you share, that'd be great. And also make sure you're following Ryan. This man is literally doing God's work nonstop, doesn't sleep, always posting. And he's always, making sure that he engages with everyone that even comments under his post. He's not like, I'm going to post and just go. He's looking for you. He's looking for your responses. He's anything that you offer him in tips, he'll go and look at. And if it's something that's worthy, he'll give you mad credit for it, which I love about him. So make sure you're following him, Ian Carroll, Ian, Malcolm, everybody up here, Yo, Destiny, and of course, Speak with Dee Dee. And so, yeah, with that, we'll go to the next hand. I believe it's Yo. Coyote, jump in, hun.
And then right after that, Maze, we're going to play the next clip from Candace. So we're going to go on the next clip at about 10:15.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead, Kyrie.
Appreciate it, and it is an honor to honestly be introduced by the Maze Love, probably the queen of spaces, all the spaces, and sorry, any of you petty bitches down there that think differently, it is what it is. Ian, Ryan, I put Ryan. Always gonna put your Rumble up there, man. I support Ryan 100%. Ian as well. I subscribe to everybody that's up on this panel because this is the truth right here. And I would like to kind of, I guess my question. May seem a little differently, but after the very weird kind of aura and comments that we received yesterday, as Didi was kind of highlighting earlier, and I've never really looked into it, but I am a religious person, and I started kind of peeping into this Mormon thing. So my question may be like obsolete or just like totally out there, but is there some kind of possibility to where there could be a tie to this maybe with, because I looked into BYU, which is kind of freaked me out or whatever, but they have a very, very close relationship with Israel and, particular like ID of students and whatnot. But I was just trying to see, like, man, Ian, like when you were down there, did you kind of get any vibes maybe that there's something there too, or no, not at all?
Not really that I could speak to, which is not to say that there's nothing there, but I mean, most universities are they toe the line on Israel because they kind of have to at this point, as we've seen with what happens when you don't. But also, any universities that are closely affiliated with the CIA are doubly under that spell, and both the universities in this area in Utah in general, points of interest for the CIA in say it to it from my personal experience on the ground.
Yeah, Utah is a very odd. Sally always spoke about it, but it's a very corrupt area right there. And that Delta Database Center that Destiny kind of got me looking into. It's just so odd that everything's in the same place. And I'm just, this is never going to end. I feel like the Charlie Kirk. Like there's going to be a new video tomorrow, a new kind of thing. I still think it's maybe something of the like that was closer. Like I don't know about the mic or whatnot. And I would like to ask you, Ryan, what is your final, like what would you say it did it? Right? I know it's not a 30-06, but like what do you think took them out? Like what is your whole thing on that?
I don't really have a thing, brother. I'm just going off what we can and what we can't prove, and I just want the FBI to release the CCTV footage. I mean, if this guy's going to get the death penalty, release the footage that proves that he's there. I mean, you would shut down all these conspiracy theories if they're worried about contaminating the jury pool whatsoever. I mean, you just release the CCTV footage that's clear. You don't even have to release the whole thing. Release 2 or 3 minutes of him walking in the stairwell, walking through the parking garage, getting out of his car, give us better video. I mean, there's so much that they could give us that wouldn't even in the least bit. And what do you mean taint the jury pool? If they release something that obviously proves that he's there, how would that taint the jury pool not in their favor? If that is him, they would want to get a conviction. So none of this makes any sense to can't get over. I mean, I could speculate, but I'm just going to be speculating. Is it a drone? Is it get in a bush? Is it a dude in a tunnel? Is it a lizard people? Is it a, and it could be a bazillion things. And we're just going to play the what if game. So I just try to avoid that at all costs and just focus on what we can and what we can't prove.
I just wanted to say that one thing. So here's the thing about the conspiracy theory. I don't trust the government. I do not trust the mainstream media. These are the people that I trust for the information or whatnot. So these people that are keep saying, like calling us conspiracy theorists and stuff like that to try to discredit, it's really not even having an impact at this point, because if you believe in the government, like what they've been, with the track record there, especially during this administration, right, that we see right here, and the mainstream media, I don't even need to say anything of that. Like we're getting to the point to where, like, when we get factual information, like what is fact-based information? Is it the works that y'all done up here?
Well, I think what I'm noticing is that people are not accepting the narrative. What they're saying happened is so far from what we observed, and I think that this is one of those cases where it's clear as day that y'all mother effers are lying, and now not only are the actual like kind of investigative journalists on the hunt, but the entire freaking internet, okay, is really, really doing whatever they can to chip in, to help out. And yes, that does mean that there's so much data to sort through, which is why I respect how Ryan's handling it, where he's like, I mean, you just got to kind of make sure you're disciplined with your focus. Otherwise, it's so easy to get like kind of, thrown off course. But yeah, and things like this that didn't make sense, like the whole taking him to a whole hospital that wasn't even the closest hospital, and that was also rated to be I guess less equipped to be able to handle his level of trauma. These are things that keep coming up. It seems that with somebody like a Charlie Kirk and this being an assassination, that would have been something that's not a mistake you make. That isn't, we don't just accept that that's a oops, right? Go ahead, Ryan. I saw your hand go up.
No, I was just going to jump in. I was just letting you know I was got the next Candace clip ready. So keep going. If you were going to land that, go ahead. You're killing it.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that there's so many things that don't make sense that I mean, and I want to comb through these. I wrote down the things on Candace that we're going to talk about after. But yeah, go ahead, run the clip. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Individual that is
Let me restart that.
Okay, now we turn our attention back to the mysterious individual that is next to Shaner, right? We discovered that one person was from Austria, and then we're going, who's this goth kid that Phil has been clear he does not know him. Phil Lyman does not know this individual. Could I help identify him? I told you it was unusual that our inbox wasn't instantly flooded with people telling us exactly who it was. Well, then we did get another hit on him, and a handful of you similarly found the same person that we did, a person going by the name Robbie Hild, who was allegedly from Washington. Now, let me tell you why I don't think this is his true identity, okay? Because if this was just some kid who grew up in Washington, went to school in Utah, my inbox would be flooded with that name. It's not. Okay. It's simply not. Oddly, no one has come forward to claim that they know Robbie Hill. They're all just saying, I got a hit. I got a hit. This might be him. No one is saying they went to school with him. This is a young college student. He's allegedly, like I said, from Washington State. And no one personally can say, I know this person. How could that be? How could that be? I'm going to tell you something. So I'm starting to get a hunch about things, and we're going to go more deeply into this tomorrow. But many of you guys have been sending those clues about the Azov battalion, about Ukrainian, Russian people that were coming into Utah. There seems to be some organized movement, people that are being given new identities. Actually, one person wrote to us and told us that UVU in and of itself as a campus has an unbelievable amount of dedication. I mean, even the president, I'm blanking on her name, it like majored in Soviet studies. Like they have a direct pipeline from Russia to America. It's very interesting. And yes, it is true. It is a fact that Tyler Robinson, we can't confirm that this is Mike Mitchell, but there are old photos of Tyler Robinson when he's a lot younger, visiting his uncle Mikey. Okay. His uncle Mikey, who is working with the Ukrainian Azov battalion. Okay, he's a military man. And that gets really interesting when I start to combine all of the aspects of this case. And again, we are still in theory territory, but I feel like we are I'm starting to get a stronger than a theory and more of a hunch that this was a military operation, and people that executed this are actually from overseas. And when you look at the aspects of the UVU case and their strong ties to that region, things get really interesting. When you look at UVU campus and their strong ties to the CIA, things start to get really interesting, right? And I think this is a path that needs to be pursued, that these people have different identities and that they are perhaps all from overseas. And it turns out that there have been, the New York Times has reported on Russian Ukrainian spies that are building new lives for themselves with new IDs in America, in Brazil. Essentially, what we're talking about are terrorist cells. I believe that. I believe that with the Ukrainian war, okay, and they always hack us emotionally. Oh, we need to have open borders. It allows them to get in people that are perhaps completely insane and deranged, and they are, in fact, raising little militants and they're executing these programs. And let me tell you, if this is correct, if this is sort of like a neo-Bolshevik militant tribe, then we need to be concerned. And spiritually, I can tell you how I feel spiritually, that feels right to me. I've been pleading with you guys to get your kids out of these schools. I am telling you that something very dark is going on. And I'm going to continue to stress to you that you need to take your children out of school. Homeschool your children. There is something dark that I am perceiving that is happening, not just in public schools, but in private schools as well. Okay. Why our kids had to go. We couldn't get basic answers about somebody that had kind of fallen into through the cracks and was posting Polish underground symbols. Her parent was posting Polish underground symbols. And I realized something was wrong. Something was off. I'm showing you this is like one headline, and this is translated from Russian, by the way. So the English here isn't perfect, but it is telling about White Lotus sect of all things. For those of you that followed the Becoming Brigitte series and things that we have spoken about this White Lotus idea, it's essentially they're training fighters, and that this has been declassified, and that they have these regional organizations, these all Ukrainian organizations, and that's exactly what it sounds like, that they're training fighters, that it's really dangerous. And my suspicion is that this is happening right here in America. It would make sense that there is global communication if they want to take somebody out. And it is also a fact, by the way, that Charlie was on a hit list. I also was on the hit list. Tucker was on the hit list. And actually, I forgot the name of the individual that worked for Alex Jones, who got killed, but he was similarly on a Ukrainian hit list. It's something that I think should be explored a little bit further. And like I said, we're going to go deeper on that topic on, we'll actually do that tomorrow, and we'll bring in the aspects and show you whether or not, Uncle Mikey could be Mike Mitchell. Could he be the detective? But I'm just seeing these recurring themes of the military. For whatever reason, I'm also seeing a recurring theme of child abuse, and a recurring theme of people who appear to have changed their name and that are operating in the shadows, and something is not right. Again, a theory that is now turning into a very strong hunch. More on that tomorrow.
All right, so you guys heard it right there. I know we got a lot of hands. We got over 3,000 people. If you guys are going to request a mic, do us a huge favor. Please share this space out so we can help get more people in here to hear you speak when you come up. And we're going to jump to the first hand. I believe it was Godfrey. Actually, I want to give Destiny. Destiny's one of our main speakers, so I want to invite Destiny up to the stage. I'm going to let her give her take on what we just listened to from Candace, and ask her if she's had any more updates on any of the investigations she's been doing. Then we'll jump over and go to Godfrey, Tyler, and then who else we got up there? Thomas.
And I see
Sup,
Marianne. Remember
Destiny?
Marianne used to come to she used to come to the spaces about Operation Amber Alert. So I wanted to welcome her too. Marianne, it's nice to see you up here. Sorry, who did we give it to? That I just
Hey, look out for Shadow Maze. He
Wait,
had something on
okay.
the Uncle Mike.
Wait, hey, I'm sorry. You guys probably can't see my hand, and maybe I'll just put my hand up there, but now seems to be a good time to interject.
No,
I
no,
really
no.
apologize for not cutting you off.
No, it's all good.
I
We're
just
gonna
had
go
a
to
quick.
Wait, guys, it's Destiny. We're gonna give it
Go
to
ahead.
Destiny really quickly. Okay, we're gonna not even really quickly. She's gonna take her time, and she's gonna tell us what her thoughts
I
are.
was okay if he wants to go. He can go if he wants to go. I mean, I can wait. It's not. He seems like he's
Now go,
pressing.
boo boo.
Go ahead, Destiny.
Okay, well, awkward. I was just gonna say, the new Candace footage, like everything, is just like minutia details that is like really muddling up a lot of the information. And what I've really been focusing on is like the complete timeline of Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk, which I don't know if anybody knows this, but that was not Charlie Kirk's first time at UVU, but his first time was Candace Owens' first tour that she ever did with TPUSA. And I think it's pretty significant. I don't know why she hasn't mentioned it. And I'll be posting a video about this soon, all the deets about that. And then she slandered some statements in the UK, and that's what got her the like anti-Semitism label, got her to resign in the first place. But the details are super important on that. Other than that, like, and I talked to a gun expert just like 2 hours ago, by the way. He has owned his own guns and built guns for 35 years, and he said there's just no way in hell.
Hey D, you got is she cracking up periodically to us, to anybody else?
Yeah, periodically.
You got a VPN or something on, D?
I do not, but let me just change locations. Go ahead and go to another speaker and I'll come back.
Set it to Israel. It'll come through clear.
Hey, all right, Tyler, go ahead, brother. Or no, who was the guy who was going to speak? And then let's go do.
Timothy.
Yeah, Timothy, jump up here, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. I just want to make a point. It's definitely a glow up. I mean, I think most, like all of the governments involved, are participants in this assassination. But ultimately, what I think the main point is that Gideon is watching and learning on all of us right now. So I know who gives a fuck, but right now it's and I posted it in the pill. It's basically a stepchild of Lavender. Right, and they're going to create this situation where all of us right now are, because obviously we want the truth, and I think that they gave this as bait, obviously, but I think this is super bait for Gideon ultimately, and then because they don't care, obviously they don't care about who they're going to kill, but it's just how they do it, how they collapse the United States, and especially with the First Amendment, because she came out with like, we're going after hate speech day one. So that was a big red flag for me. So ultimately, I think that this is just like a way for Gideon to figure out who to go after next. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Timothy.
That's very true. Yeah.
All right,
Sorry.
D, you got better service? Destiny, you got better service?
I don't know. You tell me.
Go after me, Gideon. Come get me, Gideon. Bring it.
Let's go. Destiny, you sound, I think you're cracking up, but we'll roll with it. And we got about 30 minutes left in the space. So make sure you guys do us a huge solid and smash that like button, share this content out here. We're going to try to get through as many of these hands as we can.
Go ahead, Destiny.
Well, how am I coming through?
Perfect. Beautiful.
Better? Okay, cool. I just had to come inside. It must have been just being outside. I'm posting a video like right now about the Candace Owens connection to UVU, which is really strange that she never mentioned it before, like I said. But the same donors, I'm imagining, that were threatening Kirk, that Candace knows about and has got messages about, they are the same people, likely, who pushed Candace out of TPUSA in 2019. And then it was right after her first tour, which happened to debut her at UVU, right? So I don't know why she hasn't mentioned that, but it's a super big deal in terms of the whole motive, because the motive is like, the reality is anyone could have killed him at any university, at any place. Why did they pick Utah in particular? And I think the intelligence ties to the area, as was mentioned by like Yote and other people, is that, there is the strong presence there. And then there is the data control in the area, which is also, I think, really important. But other than that, I did talk to a gun expert who told me, and he's like a 35-year veteran. He owns his own gun shop. He builds his own guns. He has a Mauser. He showed it to me. I had him like video chat it with me. And he's like, there's no way that he could have, in the time that he's in the prone position, in the running, there's not a chance in hell. He said, there's no way. He's like, even an armorer, somebody who does this for a living, like himself, he's like, you couldn't have done it in 30 seconds. Not even, he's like, the size of those things are massive. There's no way it could possibly, have happened. So like Ryan was right on that 100%. There's no chance. I mean, I have it all on video with this guy, by the way. I'll post it later. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. He told me not a chance in hell. So I'm like certain that, of course, we're definitely looking at the fact that Tyler is obviously innocent, which is crazy to say out loud, but it's like, hey, where else does the evidence point? It does not point to whatever the FBI and Spencer Cox is trying to tell us is happening. It's absolute horseshit. But that's it for me. I'll sit back. I'm ready to listen to everyone else. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks, Maze.
Thank you, Destiny. While you're up here, I wanted to ask Laissez-Faire Lounge, Pia, did you uncover anything else with the CIA connections and stuff you were digging down?
Yeah. I actually have some really interesting news. I've written a Substack article about it, which is just on my Twitter. It's on my Substack as well. So I've been approached by two separate whistleblowers. I've had recordings up, but I've taken them down because I think I need to maybe muffle the voices. And I've taken the names out and everything. But essentially, two different people, very credible, and essentially the in Utah State University. I don't know where else it is, but Utah State University Space Dynamics Lab. What happened right after World War II was the Germans had this thing called Project Paperclip, where they brought like 1,300 Nazis over here. Scientists, engineers, all these kind of things came here, and they worked not just in NASA and the coastal states, but also they went to Utah. And they basically were the ones training on the interrogation programs. MK Ultra, all of that stuff was based on the Nazi thing, and and there were a lot of German brides that came over and married Latter-day Saints. So essentially, what they're both saying is they were both in different MK Ultra projects, and they've put it on recording, and I've written out kind of like just a synopsis of what they were saying. It's like pretty intense. But I will get the recordings up. I just need to muffle the voices, and yeah, basically, I think it's all in that space lab dynamics. I think they're running it's like post-Nazi stuff that's going on in that organization.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing this Substack when you publish it. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And then who is up next, Maze? Was it?
You've done great work, Laissez-Faire Lounge. I haven't met you yet, but your work is awesome. Really appreciate you putting it out.
Thanks. I mean, it's nerve-wracking, and both these whistleblowers are like petrified, basically.
Yeah. So thank you, Laissez-Faire. And if
Hey.
you want, I can put your Substack. If you put it in a post, you can throw it into the nest. Or if you don't know how to do that, then I can do it for you, just so people can start following you there and following your work there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, it's just in my latest Substack. It's called "What's Going On in Utah," Laissez-Faire Lounge Substack. Thank you guys for your time.
Sure.
Maze, I put that Gideon up there, and just for the sake of the audience, I don't know if you wanted to do like a little brief, like explain what it is, because some people probably don't know what the hell it is.
Well, Gideon was after what was it that they were? It was right around the time
Catholic
where Trump
Annunciation
was.
Church shooting.
Yes, yes, and so essentially, it's a spyware, not even a spyware, surveillance, where they're going to be scraping all this data from the internet and basically going after people who and I think it's more of like a pre-crime type of thing. And I don't know if it was anti-Semitism related specifically, or if it was just a pre-crime thing. But the people that are behind it are definitely it's Israeli intelligence, and I think that was the piece that. And so I do you know more, Dee? Go ahead, because you might be able to speak to it a little bit better, and then we'll go to the next thing.
Sure. I believe his name was Cohen, the guy that was putting it together. Definite Mossad ties. And what he was doing was he pretty much went on Fox News to kind of get seed money for this project. And 100%, exactly like what you just said, it was preventative. So it was going to go onto all of our social media and label us, right? I'm just going to use colors: green, yellow, red, right? If you're in the green, you're fine. You don't say anything about Israel. You say something in the yellow, now you're a target. And it acts very similar to a feeder system, kind of like what we're seeing in Gaza and in Palestine, Lavender AI, where it's a feeder. So let's say I'm on a yellow, right? And Maze is on my post and she goes and hits like. Well, guess what? Now Maze is a yellow and it branches out. So it's supposed to be preventative by watching us and surveilling. And it's not that you're anything pro Palestine, it's just anything against Israel. And they use this really tragic situation of that gunman and that killed those children to try to enforce this and push this out. I know he did get, because I have been following it very closely because it terrifies me. He did get some more seed money. It has not been enacted. I think it has been in a couple of counties, and I'm closely watching that.
Do you know if the administration has given it the thumbs up, or has there been any commentary?
He's more on the state level at this point. And he's trying to get to the federal level. But for now, he's just on the state level. I'm watching him very, very closely.
So I put it up top right there. It's Aaron Cohen. He's a former Israeli special operations and counterterrorism expert, and he's at the center of the discussion. Of course, he's He's known for the Israeli you have to say that word for me, Maze unit. Anyway, basically, he went to UCLA and did some undercover work. Looking into anti-Semitism and whatnot, and that was just his perfect little entry right after that little shooting. But I did a pretty detailed little video right up there to if anybody wants to check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let's tap in with Tyler. I believe you're next, and then Godfrey.
Thanks, DD. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. So I just had a couple comments, and I had some questions for Ian, Ian Carroll, if he's still around. So first of all, Coyote, you were asking about BYU Israel ties. I actually graduated from BYU, and I've been to UVU many times. The Israel connection that I would make is that there's a BYU center in Israel that was obviously very difficult for the Mormon Church to. It's a very prized real estate in Jerusalem, and part of that deal was that the Mormon Church is not allowed to publish the Book of Mormon in Hebrew as part of that deal, and they're not allowed to proselytize in Israel at all. But there's a lot of Mormons in Israel at the BYU Jerusalem Center, so that's quite a connection. Another thing
Hey, does that correlate with the Northwestern University, the Kellogg program? Are you familiar with that one too?
Nah, what is that?
Well, it goes back to that data center, but I'll hit you in the DM on that.
Cool, man. The other thing I wanted to mention is the George Zinn. I was Mormon for 25 years. Wore the magic underpants for about 10 years. And dude, he is when he's gets the pants and it shows him in the white. I mean, I swear those are garments, right? Those are the underpants. That I know that he's Jewish, which is very weird, but I can see that he's got the white shirt on and his pants are off and he's got the white underpants. It very much looks like garments, but
I think he's actually Mormon. I think that the initial reporting was that he was Jewish because he's Ashkenazi Jewish by like blood. But on the ground here and talking to more people, I'm pretty sure the consensus is that he's a Mormon that's been in these communities and is pretty well known in the Utah communities and political spaces as being such.
Wow. Okay, that's great. That's big news because I was wondering that and then he also is very.
I think so. Y'all should double check me, but I'm pretty sure that I've kind of gotten that from multiple directions lately.
And why did his pants come off? It's almost like he wanted people to see him. I don't know how the hell that happened, but
dude, no one knows.
Very strange. Well, while you're there, Ian, let me ask some questions. And I wanted to make one final comment before I lose the mic, and then I'll drop down. Have you, when you're in your talks with Lyman, there's this weird situation where Lyman's sister, it's now a deleted clip where she says that she saw a girl handing the assassin, Tyler Robinson, or the ostensibly the assassin, I don't believe that's him, of course, stuff, quote unquote, and it's now been deleted. And Phil Lyman is sort of putting up some blocks to get access to that footage of her saying that. Have you talked to him about that at all, or do you have any plans to ask him about that?
No, I did not talk to him about that at all. When I was talking to him was before that had kind of come to the forefront here. And my talks with him, I came under the impression that he was sort of telling some people not to talk to me and giving me leads to talk to other people. So I sort of got a control of information vibe too that it's kind of hard to confirm for sure, but I don't have any intel on that specific clip. Very curious about that clip and about the woman that Candace is now digging into.
I just put that clip in the nest. I clipped it from her show. If you wanted to see it, it's up there.
Oh, so there is footage of Lyman's sister making these claims, or what is the footage?
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me here? I'm not sure if the stream is coming across, so give me a thumbs up whenever this comes across. It's still loading right now, so it's still showing I'm live, so bear with me. Testing 1, 2, 3. It's still reading my mic, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to cut the stream here now. It's pretty late. It's almost 11 p.m. So it's very interesting discussion regarding Harry Dent and his observations of the economic reset that's occurring. And then we jumped into Charlie Kirk. So I'm going to land it here, but tomorrow night I'll be going live and discussing a lot more in detail in regards to some of the information that people aren't discussing that I think is very relevant as it relates to the economic reset, tying it into what's happening in the Chicago, Portland, with ICE and dispersing and creating kind of the police state in those areas. And I think it's all kind of connected together, and no one's really connecting the dots. So I'll do that tomorrow evening. So I'm going to sign out. Good evening. Have a good night. God bless and be safe. Thank you.